The road to the Skinwalkers. My brother and I had been planning this trip for months, a road trip from Colorado to Los Angeles, to visit family and friends, enjoy the open road, and just breathe for a while. The kind of trip that shakes off the weight of daily life. We left Denver early, the crisp mountain air fading as we pushed south toward Four Corners. The sun dipped lower, melting into the horizon, and by the time we crossed into Ute Mountain Reservation, a warm, surreal glow had taken over the sky. At a gas station on the edge of nowhere, we met a man named Elias. He was lean, with deep-set eyes, wearing a tattered jacket that smelled faintly of earth and something else. Something old. He spoke softly, but with a knowing edge, like he had seen things he could never unsee. "You boys looking for a real adventure?" he asked, grinning. We weren't naive, but we also weren't against the idea of a little spontaneity. We had just taken a handful of mushrooms back at the last rest stop. So when Elias invited us to check out a sacred place in the hills, we figured, why not? The world was already starting to bend and breathe in strange ways. We followed Elias down a winding dirt path, deep into the desert, far beyond where streetlights or civilization reached. The further we went, the more unsettling the silence became. Even the wind had died, as if the land itself was holding its breath. Then we saw them. Figures. Dozens of them. Tall, gaunt silhouettes, standing among the boulders, just outside the flickering range of our flashlights. Their eyes gleamed, reflecting light like animal eyes in the dark. My brother whispered, "We need to go." Elias just smiled. "These are the elders," he said. "They've been waiting." The ground felt wrong beneath my feet, soft, like flesh instead of sand. A low, chattering sound filled the air. Not human, not animal, but something between. The figures shifted, their limbs cracking and twisting in unnatural ways. The air smelled like rot, then everything went black. The waking nightmare. I woke up in the middle of the desert, my back pressed against cold, dry earth. The sky was pitch black. Stars stretched unnaturally bright overhead. My brother was next to me, shaking me awake, eyes wide with sheer terror. "Dude, what the F just happened?" Neither of us had answers. Our car was gone. Our phones were gone. Our shoes were gone. But our feet weren't cut up, as if we had floated out here instead of walking. And then we saw the marks on our arms, around our wrists. Deep claw-like scratches, as if something had grabbed us, held us down. In the distance, we spotted faint headlights, a highway maybe a mile away. With no other choice, we ran toward them, stumbling through the cold night, hearts pounding. We flagged down a trucker who pulled over hesitantly. He took one look at us and muttered, "You boys don't look right." We didn't tell him everything. We couldn't. What could we say? That we met some ancient thing in the desert? That we might have been offered as a sacrifice? That we woke up somewhere we had no way of reaching? We took the ride, made it back to civilization, and eventually got another car. We never found Elias. We never found our first car, and we never spoke about it again. But some nights, when I close my eyes, I swear, I still hear the chattering. The low, hungry chattering of something waiting in the dark. The last fare. I had been driving all night, trying to make enough to justify staying on the road. The streets were dead quiet this late, almost too quiet. My phone screen flickered as a new ride request popped up. A pickup from a bar outside Bridgewater, near the edge of the triangle. 1:57 a.m. I almost ignored it, but it was surge pricing, and I needed the extra cash. I pulled up outside the bar. The place looked abandoned, but a man was standing just beyond the streetlight's reach, motionless, waiting. His face was shadowed beneath a dim neon sign. I checked the app. No profile picture, no name, just a single letter username. J. He slid into the back seat without a word. "Hey, how's it going?" I asked, forcing a casual tone. No response. I checked the rearview mirror. The guy was staring straight ahead, his hands folded in his lap. His hoodie was zipped up to his neck, his face weirdly pale in the glow of my dashboard lights. A bad vibe crawled up my spine, but I started driving anyway. The GPS told me to take the back roads through the Triangle, a dark, wooded stretch of road where streetlights were scarce. We drove in silence. I kept glancing in the mirror, something not sitting right. His hands never moved, never fidgeted. No phone, no sighs. Not even the sound of his breathing. Then my headlights flickered. The radio cut out, just static. Then a whisper. I thought it came from the radio, but it wasn't. It came from the back seat. "You shouldn't have picked me up." A shiver ripped through me. My hands clenched the wheel. I swallowed hard, forcing out a nervous laugh. "What?" The man finally moved, just a little. His head tilted, bones creaking like they hadn't moved in a while. Through the mirror, I caught a clear look at his face for the first time. My own face. Every detail was perfect. My stubble, my tired eyes, even the tiny scar above my eyebrow. But his mouth was wrong, stretched too wide. His lips moved without sound. The whisper came from behind my own ears. Not in the car. Inside my head. "Almost home." I slammed the brakes. The car skidded to a stop. I whipped around. The back seat was empty. My breath hitched. The seatbelt was still fastened. The doors still locked. But the app still said, "Passenger in car." And in the rearview mirror, he was still sitting there, smiling. The aftermath. I don't remember much after that. I must have blacked out, because the next thing I knew, it was morning. My car was parked in an empty lot, miles from where I hit the brakes. The ride request was gone from my history. My wallet was missing, but the exact amount for the fare was in my bank account. Like it really happened. Like he really paid for the ride. I quit driving that day, and I never ever take rides through the Triangle anymore. But sometimes when I check my rearview mirror, I swear I see someone sitting in the back seat, just waiting.